Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Bowman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
Just kind of kicking back on a patio. This is you and me working over here.
You know, this is the most work I've done all day because we tape this on Wednesdays, and I took the day off today. Well, I didn't go to the office today.
Now, people need to know. You didn't go to the office. You probably still did a bunch of crappy work, didn't you? You had to.
Here's what I did.
Yeah.
I got up this morning leisurely, had a little homebrewed coffee with bourbon cream in it.
Well, now that's a day off then.
So I did that, and then I went downstairs, and while I was watching this really cool F1 documentary on Michael Schumacher on Netflix.
Go. He's watching the IndyCar stuff.
No, F1. F1.
I'm sorry.
The great Michael Schumacher.
Wrong term.
I was watching that, and then I was answering emails during that. Got a little bit of stuff done. I've still got this weekend thing that we're doing, and so I'm trying to get some of that done. And we announced where we're going to be next week, so I'm working 10 days ahead.
If you include your travel stuff over the weekend, you worked the entire weekend, more than 8, 10, 12-hour days.
I left. I drove Friday. I left here at 9 a.m. I was going to Starkville, Mississippi, for Mississippi State, NC State, SEC-ACC matchup.
This is part of the college football Saturday night,
which is meant to be fun.
But you have to leave Friday morning for a Saturday night show, and then Sunday morning early you got to get your ass up and get moving again.
Yeah, normally I catch a flight, but there's no easy way to get to Stark Vegas.
I understand.
So so I drove to Memphis to pick up Kate Scott and Mike Golick.
Wait, you picked up him in Memphis also?
Both of them, because they flew into Memphis because Mike flies in from South Bend near Notre Dame where he lives right now. Kate lives in the West Coast. So they both flew into Memphis at about the same time, and then I met them at the curb.
And then you guys all road trip together.
2.5 hour down to Starkville to go into the NC State coaches meeting Friday night. So we motored down.
Kate Scott, Mike Golick, what is the road trip food or snack that had to be in the vehicle?
We didn't snack on this one.
2.5 hour ride? You didn't get a little road trip?
They had already. Well, Mike got there an hour before she did, so he ate inside the airport. I was probably outside in the cell lot making phone calls. Yeah. Kate landed, picked up a water at the snack bar, and then
she has a water. That's her road trip.
She probably ate on the plane.
That's her snack and nasty.
Dude, they fly first class, man. You get food in first class.
No corn nuts.
I don't know what kind of nuts they got.
No Gardettos?
I don't know.
I mean, come on, have you something on there.
So I was at an SEC school over the weekend. Where were you at this weekend?
I also was in an SEC school. It was the University of Missouri taking on the University of Kentucky in Lexington, Kentucky. And we were there. I got to tell you, the game, the fun is wonderful. The family is as important as anything. It really is.
Of course.
And, God, we had a great time. On Friday night, we went to this district that has a distillery and brewery and pizza that's like 36 inches across. It wasn't packed.
That's a girthy pizza.
It's very girthy, and just a slice on it is like the size.
That's a girthy slice.
It's like a Tony's frozen pizza. It's a Tony's and a half is one slice.
Wow, that's a lot of slice.
And that's what he said. So then
exactly.
We had a great time. The next day, tailgating at University of Kentucky was great.
Oh, yeah.
It was wonderful being there.
And you drove there, yes?
We drove 6.5 hours.
All right, that's not bad.
But, yeah, I mean, you don't call that work because it's out for fun, right?
I mean, it's always work. Listen, I'm not working super hard on this
But you drove a total of, 7.5 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
That's a lot of driving.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I got to spend 2.5 hours in the car with Kate and Mike and listen to Mike Golick's stories. His daughter's getting married pretty soon, and he was talking about how that's going.
Yeah.
It led into us listening to the coaches shows for Mississippi State with Mike Leach, who's an insane person, and Dave Dorn from NC State. So we're listening to Mike Leach, and he never talks about football during his coaches show. He didn't at Texas Tech when we had him. He doesn't at Mississippi State. So he starts talking about how he went on a safari and how he wondered if the buzzards spoke in an English accent. He's insane.
They did in Disney's Jungle Book.
So when we got done listening to the coaches show, because we're listening to those shows that we do each during the week, so we can glean more information, for the broadcast.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we get done with that, and Mike talking about a safari him and his family took, like an actual safari to South Africa. Now, it's Mike Golick. He's been in the radio business at a super high level for 26 years.
Right.
He's made a lot of money. He's so down to earth, though. But when he talks about going on safari, they stayed at a Four Seasons in South Africa.
That's safari?
Well, they stayed at a Four Seasons, but then they went out on excursions.
Okay. But on the excursions, does he camp out there?
No, they go out for day trips, but they did one overnight. But what was funny, I'll tell you this one quick story. He said, we went out one day, and you're in the big Range Rovers that you can stand up in and you can look out.
Yeah.
And we get to this clearing, and there's some female some lionesses, and they're far off, but you can go out. So they get out, and they're there for a little bit, and then the guy that's running the whole thing says, it's time to go. And they're like, what? He goes, it's time to go.
This is what happens in Jurassic Park, the original, 20-some-odd years ago,
Correct.
right?
It's time to go. And so he said, okay, so they go get in the vehicles. As they get in the vehicles from the bush, like 15 guys with AR-15s who've been protecting them the whole time with him not even knowing it. They had made a perimeter around where they are.
What, to shoot a lion if a lion comes in?
To protect them in case something bad happened.
Oh, God.
So on that same trip, he showed us pictures, and then he showed pictures. On that same trip, he was in the shark cage off the coast of South Africa where, great whites are great whites.
Yeah, no, they're really hungry, too.
And he's in the cage. He showed me pictures of this big, giant great white just, slamming into the cage. And at one point he said this great white went by, and he saw the mouth, and the mouth went by. And then when he got to mid-body, he reached out to touch it. And when he did that, the guy goes, if you do that again, we're done.
He touched a great white?
I don't know how Mike Golick spent 2.5 hours in the car with me with balls that big. He must have been so uncomfortable.
Good God.
Like he couldn't sit right, for God's sakes.
Hey, so a couple questions here, because I've heard about the sharks off of South Africa. Are they there because feeding is good? Are we throwing people in the water?
They're chumming it with people.
And that's right. Right? They put them out there?
Which is why I don't call any of my friends chums, because I know what's going to happen if we go to South Africa.
And then they get that big. It's because they're eating so well, and they keep coming back there. It's like feeding bears.
He said, man, they were chumming the shit out of the water, and these things were just coming up.
Okay, so would you get into a shark cage in those waters?
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'd have to think about it. Now, you're in a cage.
Right.
It can't technically get in the cage.
Yeah.
Technically.
Technically. You saw what happened in Jaws.
I saw what happened in Jaws. I don't go in the water because when I was a kid, Jaws was at the drive-in. My parents took me as a young child to see – well, I didn't go to see Jaws. I was supposed to be asleep in the back of the station wagon.
But you climbed up over the seat.
They didn't know I was awake, and I've been – just completely frightened of the water.
Well,
if I can't see my feet,
I
don't want to be in that body of water.
How often does a shark attack happen that results in death in the waters off the United States? How often?
22%.
No. You got to give me number of deaths per year caused by shark attack in the United States waters.
12.
I think that'd be worthwhile to say something like, so there must be like 69 attacks and 12 people die. We average one death per 2 years.
Yeah.
I
just saw a picture of a kid on the East Coast who was surfing, and a shark came up in the surf, bit his arm, and took off. And somebody happened to capture it.
With or without the arm?
No, he let go.
I'm just asking.
Big
gash. Worthwhile. But yeah, usually that's what happens. Is here's the deal: if you go scuba diving, and you're 50 feet underwater, it's a different world, and the fish look at you differently. If they look up and see something splashing, it calls attention, and they start looking.
Well, when you wear black wetsuits and you're on a surfboard, you look like a seal.
That's what it is. And you grew up in California, so you know that
off
crap.
the coast of South Africa, that's where they jump out of the water to eat seals.
Breaching.
Can you imagine?
Bam, no.
Golick wants to free dive with them.
Okay, I wouldn't do that. But back to the shark cage.
Yeah.
I would do a shark cage. I would do a shark cage. I want to know that my foot's not going to slip through the bottom. But if the boat is behind me, all right, like Richard Dreyfuss, the boat's behind you, you're right there.
Do you have a bigger boat at this point?
I'm looking for a bigger boat.
All right.
And if I'm in there, and I don't care if there's anybody with me or not, I will go down by myself. All I got to do is put me down about 6 feet underwater, and I'm down there in the cage. I would do it with great whites swimming around me. But I'm not going to free dive out into the nothingness with great whites right there. That wouldn't happen. Well, I will do a shark cage.
I give you that teaser story because I got a lot of Tom's World Beer Tour work on this last trip. Number one, I got Kate Scott to agree to come on at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Nice job. Thank you.
But I'm waiting for her to come on when she has some bigger news. She's very close to announcing something very big in her career.
I was going to say career or personal. I'm not sure which it is.
And as soon as that happens, then I want to book her. She is one of the coolest people I know. She's down to earth.
Didn't
She's a
you hint
phenomenal
about
play-by-play.
something like this on or off one of the shows?
Yeah, but that's not the situation
So we'll
that's going
stay
to
away
happen.
from it.
It's something bigger than that.
Okay, all right. So Kate Scott.
So she has agreed, and then she's going to help me get Golick. Because Golick, here's what happens when we go back. I've done 2 games with them so far.
Yeah.
We finish the game, right? We do a quick post game. We sign off the air. We do a couple promos down the line. We say hi to some people, and then we get the hell out. We go back to the hotel we're staying at, and we immediately go to the front desk where they have a refrigerator, and Kate grabs a beer of some sort. I grab a beer of some sort, and Golick grabs 2 every time.
He just double fists that thing.
And it's always 2 different beers. He's like you. It's never the same beer twice.
Well, I had a group of people that I worked for years ago, and we were at an event, and one of the owners and I walked up to the bar, and I was used to them always buying my beers.
Right.
And we walked up there, and James goes, I need 2 whatevers, 2 buds, something like that. They brought him 2, and I'm like, there, now you're talking, thanks. He goes, they're for me, and he walked away. And I was like, you son of a bitch.
So real quick before we bring our guests on, because they're
Yeah.
here and we got beers, and God, we're outside. We're local in Columbia at Shiloh's. I mean, we're going to talk about all this here.
Oh,
in a
by the way,
second.
that's why we're wearing the shades.
Well, we're
hanging
wearing the
outside.
shades because there is a beautiful tree in this courtyard patio, but in between the branches, it was popping me in the face.
Well, and you've got the computer in front of you that you have to watch.
I do have the computer in
All right,
front
so
of me.
before
All
we
right, I
get
gotta
into our conversational beer.
Yeah, so here's how it worked. I went to Germany during Desert Storm, right? I was on my way to Germany. I was in the Air Force. We stopped, and we lived there for a while. And I would go out and I would order beers. And so it would be me and a buddy, and I would always go, and maybe I told you a story before. I would say, hey, two beers. And I would get 3 beers every time. 2, 3 beers. I thought, this is the greatest freaking country I've ever been in.
Is it like a 3-for-2 program?
No, because in Germany, this is how they count to 3. 1, the thumb, 2, 3. The thumb is 1. So when you go like this, they assume the thumb. Always assume the thumb. Always assume the thumb.
You can't assume a thumb.
Always assume the
I
thumb.
think it's written in a goddamn rule book
If you're in
somewhere.
Germany,
you can never
you assume
a
the
thumb.
thumb. Assume the thumb in Germany. Every time I ordered 2 beers, I got 3. I didn't get a free beer. They brought me 3 beers.
I have seen you drink a beer and hold your pinky out.
I do that now. Look, it's natural.
Do you just naturally have the thumb just waving in the wind?
It's that
when you
blue
give
blood in my big toe that I have. It's about this much blue blood, and that's
You
it.
can't assume a thumb. You
can-
can't do that.
You're dating the wrong people.
Well, that might be the fact of the matter.
How are you guys?
Hi,
They
everybody.
have no idea what they just walked into. They're like, holy shit, we just came out to get beers and food, and these 2 jagoffs are next to me.
Now
and
they're
going
going to get an earful of crap is what they're going to get. I think we're going to go ahead and hit our conversational beer tune. Now, someday you're going to play the trombone.
Yeah,
Do
you know what Kate Scott played when she was in high school? Trombone. Kate Scott, also a trombone
Fine,
player.
I'll bring Kate Scott on the show, and she'll play the damn trombone. I think you've gotten chicken in your old age. The patio we are enjoying
That's funny.
is Shiloh's patio, and this is really a weird thing. This is really weird.
What's so weird about it? It's a patio. It's beautiful. The weather's good. Lots of people are out. We're not in masks because we're normal people. We got vaccinated.
Let me explain this. The guy that's been running this place, all right, TA, is with us right now.
I know. I see him. I'm looking across the table at him right now.
But the guy who is now running the place is also, he's here now too.
That's like when you hire somebody's replacement and they start before you let the other person go.
It's a little bit like
It's
that.
a little awkward.
We got these like overlap.
Or in radio, they tell you don't take a vacation longer than a week because if you take 2 weeks and you come back, somebody's at your desk and you go, "Can I help you?"
Can you imagine if we did this with marriages? Hey, listen, you guys got a king bed anyway, so I've always been on this side. You guys go ahead and get started, and in a week or two,
All right,
I'll
I
be
got
out
to pull
of here.
these glasses. I feel rude looking at our. I could look at you with glasses on. It doesn't bother me at all, but I feel rude looking at our guests.
TA, welcome to the show, and congratulations on your successful run at a landmark in the middle of the United States, which is Shiloh's Bar and Grill. So welcome to it, man. Thank you for being here.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
It's
Thank
a
you guys
beautiful
for being
place.
here.
I don't know if
Thank
people
you.
realize. So the camera that's pointing at you is looking at going inside the interior of Shiloh's. Our guest cam is looking sort of near the stairs that go up to the main street. This is Broadway right behind us.
Right
Here.
through
That's
the
the main
heart of
drag
downtown
of
Columbia.
Columbia. And then, of course, I've got, the brick wall. Looks like I'm at a comedy club. It's great. I got a brick wall behind me.
You want to do like
I'm going to do a
10
tight.
minutes?
I'm going to do a tight 15 here in a
tight
little
15,
bit. It'll be great.
And
Take
you'll do your
care.
thing.
Yep.
And here we have Nick Parks, who is now the man that'll be running the scene over here, and partners of yours also, and people that are and I know you're gonna do that, but I'm going to focus on the two of you. as we're going to focus on. Nick, thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for coming, guys.
I like, by
I'm
the
gonna
way, it
pass.
should be mentioned that kind of like with the Tonight Show and Letterman, there was always this squabble about who goes first on which shows. It should be noted that he was a guest on your regular radio show before he was a guest here. I
That's
just
right.
want it to be known for the record.
We're going to pass some beers around.
You've already sort of, primed the pump, if you will.
Right.
So I'm curious to see if he changes any of his answers because
Yeah,
I heard that interview. In fact, I was on that morning, and when I left, Nick came on.
I don't think he'll change anything.
It'll be
I'm
interesting to
going to
find
go ahead
out.
and squeeze the orange in
Oh,
here.
you got to squeeze the citrus, man. Come
Tell
on.
me, Nick, what did you order for our conversational beers on Tom's World Beer Tour?
Okay, so one of our first staff get-togethers here
Cheers.
after we
Sorry.
completed the deal. I met with the staff, and I
Cheers.
said, I don't really drink a whole lot of beer.
Cheers,
buddy.
gents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Cheers.
TH.
Cheers all the way up.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Try not to show everybody my crotch as I stand in front of my
We'd all
camera.
appreciate that.
That was nice.
So you asked them?
And I said, I don't drink a lot of beer. What do you recommend? And they're like, oh, the Angry Moon. I'm like, what's that? So they said, Angry Orchard, Blue Moon, half and half.
I thought maybe we were going to guess what it was, and I was sure you were going to get some answers that you probably didn't
yeah,
expect.
sorry. I ruined the surprise.
What the hell is an angry moon? Well, you see it
I
once.
don't know. It's got something to do with fraternity brother and a bad night after a football game,
Yeah.
the Angry Moon.
It's a staff favorite, and
Uh-huh.
they recommend it to a lot of our patrons. And then for me, almost every time I come, I get
That's
one
good because on the other angry moon that I know about, you get a staph infection.
Yeah, that's a
very different.
whole different thing. TA, you've probably seen some Angry Moons in your time.
Yes.
on a football Friday night after a game.
Yeah.
I mean, you
or
could almost
Saturday.
write a book with the crap you've seen with the collegiate crowd, right?
Yes, most definitely.
Who's worse? College-age kid drinking a little bit or college parents' age kid drinking a bit? And I mean a bit. Which one is worse?
No question. College age kids.
They're just starting. They don't know
They're
any
just
better.
starting. Yeah.
You got to make some mistakes as you're growing up, and you learn quickly, 8 is too many in 20 minutes.
Right. Most adults have it figured out by then.
Well,
This
But-
is something that
Not the ones we hang out with.
but football Saturdays definitely bring a whole different.
it does.
With the staff, they're not used to somebody 40 years old kind of being a little overserved.
Yeah.
How do we handle this?
I wouldn't
a
throw it out.
little more awkward. I think I know this guy. It's my dad's friend. or
Right,
something,
right. It gets
He's
weird.
my dad.
I'm going to throw this out,
yeah.
like for all those people that live in or near college towns. You've been around the college action.
I
know
told
how
you I
crazy
was
it
just
gets.
in Stark Vegas. When we left the
Right.
campus after college football Saturday night, there's only 2 ways out of that campus on game day. So we came out near where like the fraternities and sororities are. I don't know that COVID exists where I was because they were 8 deep on
Yeah.
the sidewalk trying to get into some of these places. It was insane.
Well, they're working on herd infection and then immunity.
Listen,
That's what they're working on there.
COVID was the least of their worries that night.
I'm sure it was. But it starts on a lot of times on Thursday evening and gets into Friday. And by Saturday morning, they're getting up after just a couple of hours. Whatever they started is continuing on. And then they keep it going all day long with a stamina I just don't understand.
Yeah. Game time factors big into that.
Yeah.
If it's an early game, everybody's still kind of going from the night before.
Right.
But if it's an early kick, that means they really want to come over here afterwards because they're
Right.
like, oh well,
Right.
we got plenty
Right.
of time.
Right.
And then the diehards after a 6 o'clock kick, they still make it over.
Right. But it's later.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, there's almost 2 different waves right after the game.
Right.
Then they become tired and go home, and then the people that went and napped and came back out. Versus, night games and Nick will soon find this out, that's
No,
not.
Nick's been in the second wave. What
Right,
are you
right,
talking
right.
about?
Yeah,
He knows.
with Silver Ball. But,
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock game, it's a little late when the game's over, and everybody's had a long day at that point, tailgating and everything. So,
Absolutely.
as
You- and
as a
you can
business
picture-
owner, you want the earlier game times.
You can picture this in any college town across the nation. I mean, this is
Yeah.
the way that it goes. And a lot of people, once you get older and you are the parent age or even older like I am, it becomes, I just like being around the energy, the excitement.
right.
I like watching the kids have a good time. To me, it's a lot of fun. And you've got all these stories. Nick Parks, you are running this now, right? And tonight is actually your send-off evening.
Correct.
Wow.
Here's to you, man.
I
Here's
mean,
to
cheers,
you.
my friend.
And the
Good
years you
gracious.
put in
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Cheers to that, guys.
That is awesome. Nick, did you get enough stories from him before you decided to become the proprietor here?
we've talked a little bit about, how things get here at times and what
Yeah.
some things I may not have expected, but I hopefully we can keep a relationship going on even past this transition, and he can share some more of those stories.
You
with
mean
me.
like at 1:30 in the morning you can call him and be like, TA, what
Hey,
the
what
hell
do I
is going
do?
on?
Oh my God, this just happened.
I mean, did he tell you why this tree out here in the courtyard grows so well? Because it's buried under the tree? He
Yeah.
didn't tell you that, did he?
nah.
I'm just saying, man.
There's a lot of ghosts that come
We,
with the
you know, we
property.
have our cool wide cam because Bad Roadie, the photographer, set up this wide cam. So we're on
Yeah.
this wide shot now, way over there.
Uh-huh.
Look at this beautiful patio.
It's beautiful out
And what we
here.
wanted to talk about tonight was that it's like college towns and patios and a little bit of entrepreneurship. We'll get to that in a minute, but
And I think multi generations in TA, this building was a railroad depot.
Yeah.
literally.
I mean, up until when? My lifetime, I
I'm
think.
sorry, I can't answer that question.
Where were the
Mayer
where'd the
could.
tracks come
The tracks
through
were
at?
right through here.
Like going this way or
Right.
going across the patio?
North and south. This
North
way.
and south.
Yeah.
So that part of the building over there,
Okay.
that's the original part.
Okay, so
That-
I can kind of the
that's
arches, right?
Correct. That is on the historic registry. I think.
Is that those? So those are original
Yeah.
arches, and
Yeah.
that door, that wooden door opening. I don't know that
Yeah.
anybody can see that from here.
No, I don't think they can. But do you know the age this was built?
So
Or
that
the
part,
year?
I believe there's a plaque on the corner. I believe it was 08.
So
Or
1908.
1908.
And then
1908.
when the Katy Station Railroad went defunct, then they added this part on, and it became Katy Station Restaurant. And
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I don't know the
Yeah, but it's
historical on that.
It really is something. It's a beautiful building. It has a lot of history to it, and you can feel it when you walk inside. And it's a real place where people that here, they're Tiger fans, or University of Missouri.
Right.
But it's like any place that has that older establishment with that solid feel. You've got that here. How many years were you running Shiloh at this location?
Be 13 years at this location.
And before that, how many years?
13 years at the Elm Street location.
26
and
years.
the bigger
altogether.
question is, why?
Well,
Because we have people that listen all over the country to this podcast, right? And there's business people just like you that are saying the same thing as they're listening to us, going, "Oh my God, why did you do it too?" Because I thought I was the only crazy person.
well, interesting. I was thinking about this today and stuff last night. And 27 years ago, when Willing Baker and Ron McMillan started Shiloh. It is a little tiny mom and pop type operation. When I decided I want to pursue buying that, I went to my grandmother and my parents, who were very successful, had a truck stop, Gasper's, probably in Kingdom City.
Oh, really?
And
Gasper's was
yeah.
there.
You're
Yeah,
related
yeah,
to that.
yeah.
You come from
My-
Gasper's money.
yeah.
Well,
Dude, I
hell,
started going to Gasper's when I was 14
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah,
I didn't understand we had Gasper's royalty sitting here.
We
with us. Why
do.
didn't we know that?
Yeah.
Damn.
So John Gasper, grandpa, and then grandma and mom and dad. Then my brother Ron took it over. He just sold it, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. So it was
Yeah.
in the family for a long, long time.
Right.
Anyway, long story. So, at 27, I'm like, well, I think I want to try this. I worked for Dennis Harper at Harpo's.
Right.
That's
Another great joint, not too
I
far
mean,
from here.
Celebrating his 50th year. I
tomorrow.
think.
How
Yeah.
ironic is that? I mean,
Yeah.
he's legendary. He's a
I believe the
a
students-
role model for me.
I believe
for
when
sure.
Mizzou beat Oklahoma a number of years ago, the goalpost got
Yeah.
ripped down and torn up, and part of that ended up at the roof
Yeah.
at Harpo's.
Yeah.
all over the place. But to go back to why, so as I'm presenting, my sales pitch to my parents and my grandmother about wanting to move forward and helping for some emotional support and financial support, they said, "Why?
Yeah.
Did you not learn? Did you not see anything on how we've dealt with the service industry and the public and all this over the years?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "I don't know." They said, "Well, good luck." And obviously, I'm very, very grateful for that. And Ron and Willeen started it. I took it to a different level. You mentioned patio, Tom. That is so true. That's what kind of caught my eye with the location. It had a tiny little patio, had like 8 tables on it.
Mhm.
No college bar had that in Columbia, and I thought I could grow that. And then actually the next year assumed a lease of a Christian bookstore, an old house next to it, and added on the patio. And then that really propelled.
We've all hung
Shiloh's
out at the
energy.
Christian Science reading room, of course, as we go
Sooner or
on.
later.
That was so crazy. So
Sooner or later.
so patio and Shiloh, hand in hand. Big reason for the success of that, back in the day.
I love the way this is turning out this evening, because we're going to wind up discussing what you did and why and the years you've done that, right? And anybody who thinks about business or has been in, or they went and retired out of business, you're hearing a part of this and you're relating to some
Yep.
of it. And then you've got this other page, right? You turn the page, and this guy over here,
I'm
Nick
sorry.
Parks.
Are you reciting Seeger?
Little
over
Seeger.
there? Little Seeger.
Turn the page.
All right.
Nick Parks is not new to business. When did you open your first business? Is it 12? How many years ago?
15. Pinball company was 15 years ago. Yeah.
Which I would like to know for the record that I've been passing the pinball company on Sinclair because I live in the Cascades, and I didn't know who the hell owned this joint. I thought it was somebody's clubhouse, for God's sakes.
It's this guy. Well, it is. It's his clubhouse.
Well, and now that I'm getting to know Nick, I'm thinking, hey, I'm 5 minutes away. Now when I drive by there, I'm like, I kind of know somebody in this joint.
Yeah, you do. I think you do. And so with 15 years,
Right.
I know that we're talking about you just taking over Shiloh's now, but you have a handful of, I mean, it's more than a handful because what's the number? Can I ask you
There are businesses, and then there's like hobby businesses that aren't included in that core list.
How many true hardcore businesses?
Hardcore businesses, pinball company started.
Okay.
Then I started the amusement company with the Galactic Fun Zone
I'm
Laser Zone
counting.
relationship.
Right.
So that kind of Parks Amusements as a vending company.
Right.
So we didn't have a location. We were just 50-50
And there's
share.
probably 50 guys like you around the country who do that.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah, just that. And then that turned into my desire to own my own location. So then the arcade at the mall, and then Silverball. I think Silverball first. So Silverball was the first real thing outside of the pinball company that it was my thing. And then the arcade at the mall, when Laser Lane shut down, turned into what's now Level Up.
Right.
And that is clearly like my biggest business in the amusement world.
So
And-
for people that are going, what are these things? Because you probably have them in other states. Silverball is an adult Chuck E. Cheese, basically, in downtown Columbia. Let's be honest.
Arcade bar.
It's an arcade bar. It's an adult Chuck
How
E.
many
Cheese.
games are in there?
Oh, we got pinball, skee ball, Pop-A-Shot,
It's like
Pac-Man.
50 games or something like that.
Not quite that. A couple dozen, I think,
Yeah.
in there. Beer pong and
Which is
all that kind of
nice.
stuff. The
And
Golden
then-
Tee,
And then at the mall, you took over what was a huge sporting goods store.
right?
And you basically have more, for families to some degree. You have a bar there, which
It's like
is
a Dave
great.
and Buster's with
It's a
bowling.
Dave and Buster with bowling, and you have like, you've got the upper level. You took advantage of the space in the ceiling, for God's sakes, and people can go up there and get harnessed up and balance crap, and it's like American Ninja Warrior up there.
And now it's even going further with a roller rink.
Roller
next
rink
door.
and a blacklight mini golf that opens late November, December. So so that's been a great business, and so pinball company my wife runs now. So because I was doing all these other things, and Level Up has consumed most of my time the last couple years.
Yeah.
And my GM at Silverball, Ryan McCann, runs that, and now Cantina. And I was able to do this deal with Shallow because the guy who runs the kitchen at Silverball and Level Up is just way too talented to be running, the glorified,
It's time for him to grow.
chicken fingers.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing chicken fingers and
chicken
nachos.
fingers and pizza and
Yeah.
stuff. And this is a full-fledged restaurant with great food, and it's something that I think that he's 27. He said you were 27. It's just a guy who can jump in as a restaurateur at a young age and make this thing go. And I'm just really the guy who can facilitate that and invest in it and put my 2 cents on how to run this business.
So we get a weird point here as the transition starts taking over. I'm going to make you guys uncomfortable, possibly, but I want to say it.
You make me uncomfortable every week, so it might be
At
somebody
some
else.
point, TA, you're like, hey, man, we did this in the past and it worked. Why do you got to change it? And at some point, Nick, you're like, I don't know why they've been doing this. I got to make a change. It's going to happen. Is it happening already, and how are you guys handling that personally, like in your –
He wants to know, are you biting your lip, is what he wants to know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. Are you biting your lip?
No, not at all.
Are you laughing your ass off? Like, good luck.
Good luck with that, buddy. I'm out.
a lot. When Nick first came to me, the thing that
Good.
really admired the most was his, he understood Shiloh. He understood Harpo's. We talked about that, and wants to keep that going.
Right.
There's, I don't know how many thousand kids worked for me for the past 26 years. There's couples that got married.
I was going to say, how many babies do you think were consumed in here when the restaurant
not
closed?
consumed.
Just
Correct.
lifelong
Just wanna make
friendships
sure.
for so many. There's a lot of bonding on that, and he wanted to continue that, and not every business owner, they're just looking at the footprint and the money and all that. So his passion is there. He cares about it. He wants to keep it going.
Yeah.
That meant a lot to me. And 26 years, change is needed.
Yeah.
Things need a boost and all that.
Right. But the
and,
one constant, which in this college town, and I go to a lot of college towns now in my other job, right? I'm in Athens this weekend, great college town. I was in Stark Vegas, great college town. The one thing that a college town needs and doesn't have enough of is outdoor patio space. That's where people want to be. Today's a beautiful day in the Midwest. The humidity's a little low. Temperature's not too bad. What is it, 5:20 as we tape this?
Oh, I'm comfortable.
Look how freaking people are already rolling in.
Yeah.
And it's a weekday. It's a Wednesday. People just rolling in, man. Got to get on the patio. Got to get on the patio. That's how it works.
But, it's not – I mean, you need more than just that, right? You're going to have to do something with it. You said you understand there's going to have to be changes coming along. And when you walk – and we know you're an entrepreneur, right, Nick? I mean, you look at something, you not only see what it is, but you've got a vision of what it can be. When you looked at Shiloh's, one of the things that you felt was that there was a history and a name that was worth paying for.
Yeah.
So what do you change then going forward to put your mark on it or make it a great investment for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there was some debate or just talks about, or people asked me, are you going to change the name? What are you going to do? I just thought the Shiloh name and the history of Shiloh was so important to keep. And I think for years and years to come, people are going to still think of this as TA's place. People who didn't hear the news that it's under new ownership, but they still think that's TA's space or whatnot in the history here. There's so many. This restaurant is just so underappreciated, I guess. You mentioned the patio. The food is so great. The atmosphere here, every time I'm here, it kind of feels like the Cheers from back in the day.
Right.
Grew up watching Cheers, and it's like everybody knows each other. It's this great atmosphere. And there's so many things that are great about it that I just need to come in and make some technology tweaks, just minor changes, do some marketing, get some remodel, some of these things you don't advertise in branding, improving, building a big marketing campaign that's going to build your brand for years to come if you have a short time horizon and your lease is coming up.
Right.
And you don't buy an entirely new POS system or rework a lot of your processes if what you've been doing for the last however many years is working for you. So I'm investing for the next 20 years. And I'm investing in Justin Benson. My partner is running this thing as a restaurateur. I'm investing in some infrastructure, things that you can do if you have a long time horizon. And I guess when it comes down to when it's time, or with Justin's time, when he's in 26 years and he's ready to hang it up, and someone's going to come in and do things even differently, but take it to the next level or take it into the future.
Wherever it needs to go at that time.
Whatever it needs to go at that time. So, I see things that I think would be opportunities to invest in for the long term, and I 100% understand why, if I had a year left and I was at his stage in life ready to move on, why I wouldn't have done some of those things now. Now is the time to maybe do a refresh and emphasize the greatness of the food and the patio and the service here, and do some things in a way that hopefully can make things a little more efficiently and clean things up a little bit.
So as an entrepreneur, and this is what I love about doing these shows. Once again, we're heard from coast to coast. We're in Columbia, Missouri. It's where you and I live.
Yeah.
But the people we bring on sort of transcend that, right?
And
they go
beer is just the vehicle that gets us to talk. That's it.
So as an entrepreneur, what I'm hearing from you is, listen, don't be so quick to completely change something. Step back for a second, look at the parts that need to stay. In other words, the Shiloh name. When people come to town, people graduate from here and they go away.
Right.
And then they come back for a game, or they come back because they want to move back here or whatever. This is something that they remember. They want to come back here because of the name. So as an entrepreneur, you didn't just come in and go, you know what, this is great, but you know what, we're going to take that sign down, we're going to blow this out. It's a good piece of real estate. You don't look at it that way, right? I mean,
No.
and there's probably some people that immediately go to, got to wipe the slate clean.
Right. Not at all. To a degree, I was really excited when I thought there would be a possibility because, I went to college here, started college here in '97, and just always thought, this would be, and Justin himself and Ryan McCann, my GM at Silverball, frequented this bar during their college years too. And when I brought to them, like, really? Like, they would never dream that they would be in a position like Ryan's going to help out with the bar side and just they would never dream that they'd be in a position to run this thing, right? So it was just, 5-10 years ago they were, they were like just odd jobs, hourly jobs, and here they are restaurateurs, entrepreneurs. So I'm excited with working with both of those guys, with Silverball, and continue to improve that, and Shiloh and its new future. And I couldn't do it without them. And there's no way I do this deal unless I've got guys like that I know can run these things.
And are these concepts that, I know you're based here in Columbia, but have you thought about branching out a little bit? I know on Tom's show, he asked you this question, which was, have you thought about consulting other people in different states to say, hey, here's what I've done in Columbia, Missouri. You could replicate something similar where you are. Hey, I've already done it. I've already gone through those steps.
Right.
Is that the next step for you at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I love educating and mentoring young entrepreneurs, and I've got my stories where I created the pinball company and I created the Silverball based on some other models. Level Up is even modeled after other families. Right. This is a turnaround story. This is a kind of a re-emergence story. This is, Shiloh coming out of the cocoon, and making it great again. And and I need that as part of my history, as part of my repertoire, so that as I'm mentoring some of these business people, that I've got kind of a case study of how I was able to do this, and I hope that I believe I'll be successful at it. But yeah, it's just a super exciting opportunity.
So for those that listen to this podcast and watch the video across the country, if you email tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com and you're interested in going, hey, how the hell do I do this? Can we pass those on to you?
100%.
See,
yeah,
there you go.
That's what I love.
And
look what we're doing here. We're helping people.
And I think we're talking about people that are really working on something right now. Either it's a plan or a dream, or maybe they've already got their feet into this thing, and they could use some advice, and you're willing to step in and help them.
100%. I love doing that, and that's ultimately 10 years from now. I hope I'm exclusively doing that.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I have another question about you and your failings, and I want to get to that in a second.
Okay.
But TA, what the hell are you going to do with yourself?
I
now?
was just going to ask that. What the hell's next?
Are you going to launch some, rocket company, outer space?
Because here's the problem. We have had guests on before who sold off their companies and said, I'm going to go retire. Instead, I'm going to go buy a piece of property by the river. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Richard, of course.
That's happened before.
I'm just wondering, I know you're getting out of the restaurant business, which God bless you, because my wife was in it for a long time, so I appreciate what you went through.
Thank you.
But what's the next step?
Well, great. So I get to give myself a little plug here. So
okay.
No, I'm not retiring. I wish I could, but I'm not retiring.
Good.
Wait a minute. What a deal you got. He's like, I can't retire. Holy crap.
Right, yeah. Too cheap. I love being around people. I love the industry. Just 26 years of being the guy.
Yeah.
I have Mike and J Rod that have been great partners here since '08. But you have a staff of 80 to 100.
I'm opening Milo's
employees.
Right across the street, right over there.
It's just I want to take my knowledge and my work ethic that were instilled to me, by my parents, grandparents, and
by
all
Grandpa
that
Jasper,
all that I've learned through the years of everybody fails, and make somebody else's life a little easier and better.
Okay.
That I had people that helped me, in my past. So,
nice.
Everybody said, what are you going to do? I don't really know.
Really?
I don't.
Wait, didn't he just say he was going to promote something?
That's what I thought.
I'm going to promote nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to promote nothing. Yeah.
So wait a second. You want to reach out and you want to work with people and help them? Is that what you said?
Yeah, consulting or.
But you're not sure how.
But I'm not for sure how.
I know an entrepreneur who can help you start a business.
Right here next to me. I'm excited to see what doors open up for me.
That's really interesting.
But are you going to travel a little bit first?
Well, let me ask, because we've talked about this, Nick. Like, I'm an idea guy. You come up with a great idea, the ability to go in and clock in 9 to 5 or 5 to 9 or whatever the hell it is for the next 18 years and run it. Those may be two different kinds of people.
Definitely, 100%. You have your visionary founders and you have your operators.
And what are you?
I get bored with the business after 6 months, and I have to. I don't have to, but I still love the pinball company, everything that I've helped create.
Of course.
But once I'm done creating it, getting to where I want it to be, I have to be working on it.
Because your mind's going
my
like
mind's
this.
going crazy.
I believe they call that hit it and quit it. I don't know what I don't know if that's the case for sure, but
Something
I'm just
like
saying
that.
that's what I think they call it.
Something like that, and I have that bug, and I to spend 26 years in the industry and achieve what he's achieved. I mean, that's just very impressive, and that's what we need. I mean, that's what I hope I have in Justin, and they can just run this thing for the long haul and make it great.
But you'll be moving on to other things.
But I'm going to spend 6 months here and get Justin on the right footing, teach him how to be an entrepreneur and run this business. From the bookkeeping and payroll scheduling, all the stuff it takes. The TA knows backward and forward now, but he doesn't. And you can't teach that in the 2 weeks we've had in this transition. So I think I'm gonna be here long enough to make sure and do the improvements that I think that this business needs in terms of technology and remodeling and things like that. And then I'll be moving on to the next thing and finishing Lakeside early next year, and
which is a
so
whole
forth.
nother development for people that aren't in our area. I don't even know if we'll have a chance to get into today, but you're talking about a family amusement park that you're working on now. It's going to be, this entertainment complex is going to be amazing. But TA, when you hear him talking about what his desires, love, and strength is yours different? And would you be bringing something different to the table for someone if they needed a mentor?
Yeah, I believe so. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, Nick's visionary and passion. I mean, it's just, you know, when we had our first meeting, I'm like, damn, you know, maybe we just try to do this together. You know, because I hadn't had anybody come to me with that much drive and energy, and Justin is great. I mean, Justin, 27. I mean, he's got worth ethic. You know, I'm just kind of old school worth ethic go.
Yeah.
Where Nick is much more organized and professional, so to say, in management. I'm not a good delegator of authority. So, you know, I am so excited for Justin and Nick, but for Shiloh and for, you know, all my employees that stayed with them, you know, to make the place to thrive and get better and be stronger.
I want to say that whatever you come up with, please be in contact with us. We'd love to talk about it. And I think you have something there that can be shown, guiding, helping other people.
Thank you.
To find their way through that, yeah.
I got to add something here, and I keep forgetting to mention it, but I was on your show. How long ago was I on your show? Just
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, we announced that you know that I had we consummated the deal, because the official Shiloh is done deal, and Fred. Pardon me. I have to scoot back. I was on your show before that. I was on your show at some point before, talking about Lakeside, wasn't I?
You've been on the show before that. When you came on to make the
last
announcement.
appearance was Shiloh and Lakeside.
Well, we talked about Lakeside, but it was the announcement of Shiloh.
Yeah.
No.
But you've been on the show for Lakeside also.
I was on the show, and I mentioned at that show, if you recall, I mentioned that I was interested in expanding the business. Anyway.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, thanks to you know being on the radio and people hearing about my interest and being in the radio, the landlord here caught wind of that, and that's how the deal happened.
Awesome.
So what you guys are doing
Gotcha.
is playing a role out there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So you're a broker, is what you were. He's
well,
calling
it's a
you
little
a
bit.
broker.
I've always done a little bit of that in my life anyway, so it feels good.
That's
By the way, I want to mention what we're drinking. I don't
Dude,
think we explained
I'm
the recipe.
gone, by
You
the way.
are. You're nailed. And Brittany's walking by if you need to get
I'm going to
yourself
need
a
another
refill.
one. So here's what's funny. This is Angry Orchard, which is a cider, an apple cider-ish,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I don't normally
Sweet.
drink those.
Well,
It's
this
a
is-
sweet beer. Yeah.
This is called an Angry Moon.
Yeah, but no offense, it's a girl drink. I'm just saying. Angry Orchard is a girl drink.
It is. Yeah.
Blue Moon is a great drink because it's a good beer and you put an orange slice in it and it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I never thought about putting the two together.
So I wouldn't even know there's apple in here. All I'm drinking, it just feels like a zesty, citrusy
It's
beer.
a very fruit-forward beer. It's kind of like a Stone grapefruit IPA.
It's pretty good.
Right.
That's pretty good.
I need another one of these. Because,
What are a couple of the
you know,
menu items that are going to stay on? You know what I'm talking about. You know the one that I'm asking about. Rodzilla wings. Are they
Rodzilla
gonna-
wings. Yeah.
Are they staying on?
Yeah.
You don't have to
Rodzilla
do it
wings.
for me. I need to know now, yes or no.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Rodzilla wings, you know, ribs, you know, all this great sandwiches. I've had all the food over the last couple weeks. Come here for lunches, and I order like one or two things, and so I've had everything, and everything is so good.
That's good because I'm
that
starving as soon as
the
we're
food
done.
is not the problem. The food is definitely the plus, and the atmosphere and everything. It's just a matter of, hey, remember Shiloh? That's what the only thing is
Well, that's
getting the word
one of
out.
the things you bring to the table are the other businesses you have going, and so they can start helping each other.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And building, I hate
Once
to
again,
use the word synergy, but it's
If
true.
you're out there as an entrepreneur and you're thinking about a great concept, you should reach out to him. Email
Yeah.
us at tomsworldbeer@gmail.com. We'll send the message out because he's got an adult Chuck E. Cheese downtown. He's got a cool, like, family joint at the mall, which is fantastic. Now we got this patio. Here's what I love about this patio. And if you are listening in another state and you're thinking about, hey, man, I should put a patio in at my restaurant, it's got to be below street level. So, like, if you look behind me, if you're watching, and those of you that are listening, there's a nice 6-foot grade down to where the patio is.
Yeah, this is really a cool
You know, people
spot.
are up top. You can barely see that. This is the kind of patio you want. Listen, you could be on the street and see everybody and wave. That's great. But, man, I want a little privacy to some degree. I want to be blocked from the
Well,
traffic.
to have it on the main thoroughfare in a town this size is
Absolutely.
awesome. By the way, on the patio, you guys have a spot where tables sit over their TA, and you've had bands also, right?
Yeah.
You just take the tables away, and that becomes a stage.
Right.
Will we have live music out here in the future, or is that in the past, and you're like Captain Von Trapp, no singing allowed?
This is a great place for live music. No. People, I took over the Facebook page. People are messaging me, are you going to have live music? I said, yeah. Norm Rubling Band on Friday night from 6 to 9 here this Friday.
Who's the
And
band this Friday?
Norm Rubling.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah,
I was ordering a beer with Brittany for
I
God's
man.
sake. I'm
understand.
sorry.
I understand.
local
Forgive
favorite.
me for not paying attention to the show.
So he brings a crowd,
Absolutely.
a good fun crowd. So 6 to 9 this Friday, and then, expect live music every Friday until, so the weather doesn't allow for it.
That is awesome.
Love it.
Congratulations to both of you guys. I mean, it's an exciting point for each one of you as you're moving on
Thank
to
you.
whatever. And this guy, Nick Parks, every time I turn around, he's coming up with something more.
I know.
Is there anything else in the works that you want to hint on right now?
Yeah, he does. I can see his brain working right now. I can see it literally
How
working.
many? Let me ask you this. Let's talk about the entrepreneurial stuff.
Yeah.
And are we keeping you guys too long? I know it's a while. TA, do you need to go?
I probably should.
All
go.
right.
This is
yeah.
TA's retirement send off. All
I
his
know.
friends are here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
buying them
I need-
all a beer.
I need to go.
Let's let TA mingle with his
We'll
friends.
let,
Yeah.
we'll let TA go. We'll keep
TA,
Nick
I
for a
need to
little
go.
bit.
Thank
Say
you for
thank
all.
you.
Thank you for all the years at the original location and then back over
And we're
here.
excited to hear what the next step
Yeah.
is going to be.
I am too. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer what I want to do.
I love.
I've
but,
put all
but
my.
here's what I love about you, TA. You go. Well, this is great. I can make an announcement. Yes,
And I don't have
But
one.
I don't have one.
nothing.
That's the honesty
me.
I appreciate.
Help
Thank,
me, help me.
He's on the market, guys.
thank
Yeah,
you for being
on the
with
mark.
us.
All
Enjoy
right.
yourself tonight.
All right. Thank
A
you.
little
That's
going away
fantastic.
celebration.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
So,
you.
so,
I love it.
so TA, how many ideas do you have in your head that you have not? This is so personal. How many ideas do you have in your head that you have not shared with your wife yet?
About business.
Yeah. I'm talking about business. Sorry.
Just ask. I mean,
Enough to I've shared enough to to her to tell me enough is enough.
Like, stop.
Yeah, like stop.
do you
Like,
get
really?
at night? Do you just get STFU?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty
Or
much,
like date night is supposed to be date night. You talk about things other than work and kids, right?
Sure.
What is there? For me, I don't play golf. I don't watch sports. I don't, like we talk about our vacation. We're going to LA next week. We're going to Disneyland.
Nice.
We can talk about that.
Wait, you chose Disneyland over Disney World?
We went to Disney World with the kids.
Okay.
Haven't been to LA.
I
in
mean,
a
I'm an
while.
LA guy. I understand Disneyland.
It's different. Yeah,
it's definitely
there's more.
different.
There's different things to see.
All
We
right.
got our vaccine cards, so we're
All right.
ready to go in case California decides we can't.
Are you taking the kids?
No, we're not taking the kids to that Disneyland. So that's a different.
Are you? Well, hold on. Time
That's
out.
why I wanted to point it
Are
out.
you one of these couples that goes to Disneyland as adults?
Yeah, 100%. No. My wife has been going to. I grew up poor, Florissant, Missouri, North County, St. Louis, and I went to Disney World one time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My wife went to Disney World every year her whole life because her
No.
grandparents lived in Orlando.
Oh my God.
So
All right.
she's been going forever, and we now I'm in that world where we've got to go at least. She knows it forward and backward. We
You know,
go
you
there.
can
She's
get booze at Disneyland.
yeah, she's
All right, just checking.
She's got the app, and she's got us all restaurants. Everything's all planned out.
What is she like at an amusement park? Like the wildest rides, or what does she want to go do?
We would love to ride. That's why we're going to Disneyland, because we can. When we got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old, you can't ride all the really.
And they get
Oh,
California.
and those ages, they get pissed
Right,
off at each
but they
other.
got California
Right.
Adventure out there, so they actually have Disneyland, which, by the way, fits in Disney World's parking lot.
Right.
But they have California Adventure, which is more of the bigger rides.
Bigger
which
rides,
is
yeah.
nice.
So we
All
can
right.
actually go experience the Disney type of thing,
Right.
but do Disney our way,
Right.
which I don't think. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, do that.
Sure.
And I thought,
Sure.
okay, we go to Vegas at least once a year, and that's kind of a couple do that. That's pretty
course,
obvious.
of course.
Fun city, shows,
I'm with
nice
you.
food, and all that.
Yeah.
They're like, let's do something a little bit different. And we haven't been to LA in a long time. We've only been to Disneyland once.
Right. Well, you
Um,
can spend the day at the beach. You can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
down
but
there.
I gotta point something out.
Uh-oh.
You're opening an amusement park, all right, in
Right.
central Missouri.
Yeah.
Now, it's not Disney World, it's not a Six Flags, but it is for us. It's a pretty cool outdoor adventure park you're putting together, and it's going to grow
Right.
over time, and I know that it will.
Right.
You're not going out there to do a little scout
Market research.
market research?
Everywhere I go.
Oh my
that's
God!
market
If I see
research.
characters walking around that amphitheater, I swear to God, I'm gonna punch them. I'm just telling you right now.
Louis the Lakeside lizard or something.
lizard.
The Lakeside Lizard.
Hey,
Hey,
we got a character we
wait,
want
you could do it.
We got a character we want to pitch you. Perhaps it's Larry the Liger.
Larry the
Larry the
Liger.
Liger, and he's always got a little bit of a drink going, a little
He's got-
clink in the glass.
He's modeled after Mr. Furley on Three's Company. He's, hi, how's it going?
God.
You kids going out tonight?
So
love it.
Hi.
you go anywhere, you're doing market research.
Entertainment is like my world.
And
So when we go, I'm like, oh, that would be really cool at Lakeside, or man, we have to get that for Silver Ball, or
But that's a good entrepreneur.
I know
That's
that
a
it
great
is. I know it
entrepreneur.
is, but you've got to turn it on, turn it off, and then you got to bite your tongue, which is why I was asking how many things are in your head that are like a real thing
Yeah.
that you have not shared with your wife yet. 3?
I share a lot. I do. I tell her that I have aspirations to, in a nightclub in Columbia.
Let's throw out some ideas. I want to
Let's do that.
categories, sectors. I want to hear something he has not thought of.
Why don't
right.
we each come up with one?
Here we go. All right.
I got one ready.
The
whenever you
ride
are.
share. All right, ride shares. Have you ever looked at an industry and thought, I've got a better idea, and you'd like to actually launch one yourself?
Well, we have the party limo, the Silver Ball party bus, and that's going to be running from Silver Ball to Shiloh on the weekends.
Because I can't walk 4 blocks. I'm going to get into
Well,
the party
you know-
limo. I love it. I like the idea.
And just
It's
the
a
party.
safety
The
thing.
party doesn't stop.
It's a safety thing.
You pregame at Shiloh, have a nice
Right.
meal.
I got
You
you.
hop in the party limo. The music's pumping in there. You go over to Silver Ball
Right.
to party, right?
Okay.
How much
and
does that cost somebody to ride?
Dude, it's going to be a completely free service.
See what I'm saying?
Completely
Okay.
service.
All
And
right.
when Lakeside opens and you want to go out to Lakeside to watch the concert, we'll take you from Silver Ball.
so you're
out
gonna
to-
work
This
that
is what
too.
I'm talking about. Because I don't want to drive from my house down. I pass this joint. I've been watching the construction of this joint every day because I drive from here to Jefferson City where my real job is. And I go by there every day. I get off at that exit to go on the side road to go home. And every day I get to the traffic circle and I look, how far have we got?
Like,
How
what's
far have we
going on
got?
over there? Okay, name a sector. Let's see.
Human hunting. There's some
Okay,
extra
that
land
might
outside
be-
of town.
That might be a little
And-
extreme.
No?
A little extreme.
You do it with paintball.
in
But
this
you do it with paintball. Somebody volunteers to be the hunted,
Yeah.
and 4 or 5 people get
Okay.
to be the hunters.
Okay.
All right. So
Paintball.
yeah, we've been talking about what Lakeside could be in the long term, and we need like a next level haunted house with the zombie hayride and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
I'm with
so
you.
yeah, I'm all about human hunting out there at Lakeside for sure. We've been talking
Can
about
we
that.
change it to zombie hunting?
Sure.
Zombie,
Sure,
zombie
we'll put a
humans.
guy in a
Okay.
zombie suit. Yeah,
Thank you. I
absolutely.
appreciate
Go ahead.
that.
Yeah, no problem.
people have contacted me from all over the place and wanting to do airsoft. I don't really know a lot about that, but it's like BBs.
That's a
instead of
BB
like-
gun,
Yeah,
yeah.
BB gun type thing, and then having and actually shoot each other.
Right.
They actually, I'm like paintball. I get it. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
They're talking about
It's
shooting each
messy.
other with BBs.
It's a little messy.
I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm.
So he is talking about some level
Right.
of human
Human
hunting.
hunting.
So
All right, now wait. Is it my turn?
I believe it
To
is.
name one?
Sure.
Okay. Something involving. You've looked at skydiving. You thought, or something in the air. Something in
Yes.
the air. Have you looked at that and thought, why can't it be this and this? Or am I completely out?
in the air. The only thing, there's so
You
many
can
things
do
that
virtual
I pursue.
skydiving.
Yes,
You
so-
can do skydiving where you go into like a. There's fans that blow air up.
Yes,
Yes.
And you jump in
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
you do that.
So they were going to open one of those in Chesterfield, and I had reached
St.
out.
Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, I reached out to those guys about doing a Silver Ball slushy
Right.
bar at the district in Chesterfield, and they contacted me and said, yeah, that we're still thinking about that. But the guy who was going to do the
skydiving.
indoor skydiving,
Yeah.
they've kind of business. They couldn't pull it off. Would you be interested in taking over that lease and doing this indoor skydiving?
What do you want to do with
Ooh.
8 leaf blowers? That
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
work.
I'm like, yes, let's do it. And then like my wife's like, no, that's
Okay,
not cool.
so okay.
Okay, I
your
got
turn.
another one.
All right, go.
And this is, I don't know if it's a franchise or not, but you know what we need in Columbia? Something like Top Golf. We need something
Oh.
like Top Golf here, whether
Yes.
it's actual Top Golf franchise
Yeah, but
or
that's not. I already know the answer
Yeah.
is yes.
Yeah, so I was planning on something at
We're planting seeds that we already know.
Right,
Okay?
I didn't know these.
We were planting something at Lakeside, but we didn't want to net in the lake like we originally planned, and it's so high and it's just obtrusive when you're trying to do something really green and pretty out there.
Yeah.
But then as we were planning that, Tim O'Reilly, his family started O'Reilly Auto Parts, 4,000 locations, right?
Sure.
He is a lawyer in Springfield, but also runs their hospitality group with hotels and things. He just opened a Big Shots in Springfield. His
Is Big Shots like Topgolf?
It's like Topgolf,
Okay.
exactly like
All right.
Top. Well, a little different, but similar model. And we have a mutual friend, Blair Murphy, goes by the name Murph, who owns Johnson's Paint with his wife.
I know
we
Mother
know
Murph.
Yeah, we
So
know Murph.
he reaches out to Murph and says, Murph, Columbia's next. I'm getting Springfield done. Columbia's next. He said, wait a minute. This guy, Nick Parks, he wants to open one at Lakeside. You don't want there to be two of these things going at the same time. And I said, what? This guy? No, I'm not messing with this guy.
Right.
So I've been very much working with Tim O'Reilly and seeing how
So
his
will
Big
that
Shots
be
is doing.
at Lakeside?
Probably not,
But you are working in
But the whole goal
conjunction.
is to bring that to Columbia so people
Right.
don't have to go to Kansas City or St. Louis to
and
experience
not
the
double up
Topgolf.
on something a market like this.
All right, let me
handle.
give you a twist to Big Shots. You put a guy in a zombie suit, and he runs out so people can take
Hit him with a
whacks.
golf ball.
Yeah,
Okay.
right?
It's not human hunting. All
It
right.
sort of is.
It's kind of human golf.
It's
gaining,
hunting with golf balls.
something along those lines.
I think it's a winner.
I honestly, it's hard for you, isn't it, to decide that something is too extraordinary to even dream on? Because you go ahead and dream on it, don't you?
I'm a dreamer. So that's the problem, is getting other people to that level where they think that big. So when we talk about me, being an entrepreneur, mentoring, educating young entrepreneurs, so many people through like the business school, these college students, when we reach out to me, like, we were at your lecture and heard about you, your entrepreneurship lecture and everything. You were a guest speaker. I want to have a meeting. We'll have a lunch or whatever. What I do, my typical forte is I'll meet with anybody who wants to talk entrepreneurship in my business and how I got where I am, my stories, and might inspire them to pursue their story.
Yeah.
What I do is I listen thoroughly to what they plan and what their entrepreneurial idea is. I kind of process their idea a little bit, and then my goal is to help them to think bigger. That's a great idea, but why haven't you thought about this? Why do this when you could really go for this, right? Shoot for the stars and maybe you hit the moon. And that's my nature, is to think really big and dream, so that, again, I think that's innate in me, is to think really big on how I can change the world, especially Columbia. How can I change the landscape of entertainment, make Columbia the best college town in the country from the entertainment standpoint?
Right.
That's my goal. What can I bring? Children's Museum, Aquarium. We talked about all these things, and but in any business, I look at their business and think, that's great. This is a great idea, or this is your business, and this is what you would plan for it. But why don't you go big? Why don't you think big?
There was a point at which, as an entrepreneur, I scared myself, and it was when I made the first step and actually made something happen. So what your dream was, or your thought, or this idea, you actually told somebody, and then you went and did some work on it and some more research, and pretty soon you paid for something, and now it's sitting in front of you. There's a tangible object, all right? And it's an LLC, it's a corporation. It is 2 employees. It's a place that has a shingle held outside that says you are a whatever you are.
Right.
When you do it the first time, you're like, crap, I thought about it. I made it happen. It can happen.
Right.
So if I think really, really big, it can be done. So a lot of my advice has been to younger people. It's like, don't ever think that just because you come up with an idea that it's just a silly idea. You got to tell somebody about it.
100%.
And
That's what I
start
tell
writing
everybody.
down plans, start writing them down, and start researching.
Somebody thought
them.
about these stupid scooters that are all over town that you can drop wherever you want. Someone's making money off of these stupid scooters.
And somebody else had probably told them along the way, they're like, you can't just put scooters
Someone's
out
going
there.
to
and
steal
just-"
your scooters.
And they're like, actually, we've built in the thievery and everything's going to be fine. But it's weird when you put that. Do you remember the first thing that you did? That was simply an idea and suddenly it became a tangible thing. What was that first thing?
The pinball company thing, or
Is
just
that what it
going back-
was?
going back further?
Going back, even as a child, what was the first thing you did? You were like, wow.
Lemonade stand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a child, we had a Mr. Bulk, not a Mr. Bulk. We had bulk candy at the Schnucks in St. Louis.
Okay. Yep.
And they, at that time, the popular thing amongst my peers, we're talking like 2nd, 3rd grade, was these gumballs that were really, really sour, like tearjerker gumballs, right?
Sure.
And then they got sweet as you chewed them.
Right.
And they were like, I would go there and I would buy a big bag of the bulk candy, and then I would sell them for $0.25 a piece to my friends in school.
And they were
already doing it.
And all day they were paying for it.
Yeah, like I was a little drug dealer. Like, who's got my stuff, man? You know.
Yeah.
So wait, when you
Here,
first
you can have one lick
yeah
for free, and then we'll
per
see
lick.
if I give you another
We
one.
let it air dry and then we go again. When you first thought of this, did you share it with somebody, a parent? Did you say to them that you're going to do this?
They had no clue.
No clue.
No clue. Now my mom, I have to give my mom.
When you rolled
so
up
much
in the
credit.
Mercedes in 5th grade, did they realize, oh, he's probably selling
No.
candy?
He's selling something.
No, my mom hung wallpaper for like 30 years, and she was the entrepreneur. Interiors by Pam, and I kind of got the entrepreneurial bug from her, seeing how successful she was doing it her way, her hours. She got to control her schedule and how much money she made. She got out of it what she put into it. I was so inspired by that as a young boy. And I was like, this is so cool. And the idea that you could provide a service like that, I cut grass at an early age and made enough money to buy my Xbox when I was a kid. Or not, back then I think it was called a Sega.
By the way, Tom, that's not an Atari when we were kids.
No.
Xbox.
I think it was a Sega because, I think it was a Sega thing. But my mom's like, if you want the Sega, you're going to have to go make that money. And so I would go cut grass for $10, $15.
Sure.
And then slowly – I had a little cash register under my drawer where I'd keep all and just build up my and I got to get to like $300 or whatever it was to buy this thing.
Yeah.
And I finally bought it, and it was so fulfilling. I was like, yes, I got this. But it was almost like a whole summer of cutting grass.
Hell
but
yes,
I had
it
a
was.
goal of making enough money to buy this for myself, which was so much more rewarding than like getting it for Christmas or something like that. So my parents instilled in me the hard work, entrepreneurship. You have to go out and get it. If you want something, you have to go out there and get it for yourself.
No one's
going
gonna
to give it
you
to
anything.
exactly. That's what my dad
Did
would
any
tell me.
people in the grade school when you were in elementary school, did anybody, did you want it with any competition? Did somebody say, I can do this and undercut him? Because what was your markup?
Yeah.
I mean, what were you making off of those sour gumballs?
I mean, it was like I would go and I'd have a little pocket money.
They were probably, what, a nickel?
Less than that. I think 2 cents.
2 cents, and he was selling them for 25
for
cents.
a quarter.
Yeah, you could buy it by the pound.
Sure.
Wow.
And so you spend a couple bucks on a little baggie, and then you go in 25 cents. I mean, you get 100 balls in that baggie. So I would end up with like 20, 30 bucks.
Good God.
And I go back and buy a few dollars worth of gumballs and then have more pocket money, to go buy, some garbage pail kids.
This is where you see young entrepreneurs. I had a friend in 7th grade. School lunch was 90 cents. Everybody bought $1. He would stand at the window where you paid for your thing, and he would say, this is what he would do all day for lunch. You want your dime? You want your dime? You want your dime? And like 1 out of every 5 people would be like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Here's your dime. The guy would make $5 a lunch.
That's yes, that's creative, but it's also panhandling.
Listen, it's entrepreneurial. He found
Did he have a sign,
something that he could do.
Bless you. God will bless you.
And this is what he would do. You want your dime? You want your dime? And then he would do
United
that for about
States
half
vet,
an hour.
please help. I mean,
He'd make $5 in dimes. He'd spend 90 cents to get his lunch for free,
Yeah.
and he'd make $4.10 a day.
good God.
I
Just
think he's
saying.
right over there on the corner, isn't he?
I know. I've seen this guy.
I do think I
He's
saw
selling oranges in L.A.
there's something great about a podcast where we don't have a lot of constraints around us, and we get to do this.
And I can say shit, and my mom doesn't get mad.
And that works very well. But we've had a chance to talk at length with you and really get deeper into the conversations. I've wished we could on the radio, but this has been great. It really is. I love these sour gumball things. I mean, that's a story that's going to be in your book someday.
You
and
should call one of your businesses the Sour Gumball Company.
maybe the name
Tearjerker.
of the book. Tearjerker.
Yeah.
Tearjerker.
The name of the book is Tearjerker. Oh, I love it. It always has to have that additional time. Tearjerker and 11 other steps on how you can become a winning entrepreneur.
Love it.
Nick
Wow.
Parks,
Did you
congratulations.
prepare that?
I did. Nick
Jesus.
Parks, congratulations on Shiloh's and everything else you're working on. Please stay in touch with us.
Absolutely.
He
Everything
lives
else-
in town by us, for God's sake.
I don't care.
Of course he's going to stay in touch.
He lives in touch for now, but then he starts buying other cities.
I just want people to understand what's going on. We see this guy.
Thank you for being a part
His
of
clubhouse
Tom's
is down the street from my house.
World Beer Tour. I know. I might be ready for another beer.
This has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook,
we go over
Twitter,
time?
and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.